Many of you had asked for a video regarding the American Girl History Unit Studies from Little School of Smiths. And in today's video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of the unit, and then I'm going to give y'all our review. So stick around. To start off, let's just briefly go through the unit study itself, and I'll just kind of do a brief flip through and I'll tell you some of the things that you will need. First thing you're going to need is some kind of binding system, obviously, because it is a PDF download. This is actually a free PDF that you can get from her website if you plan on doing more of the American Girl units. I do, so I just put them all in a binder here. And we actually have our next one printed out already because we plan on doing another one. So I will just put a tab in here. We will put Felicity in there as our next unit, and we will keep going. So she gives you how to use this guide. She gives you a book list. One thing to note with the book list is basically you're going to need these, the Samantha's. You're going to need this one for the Samantha unit, but for the other units as well, you're going to need the World book. So Samantha's World, or if you can find all of the chapter books, so if you can find the entire series, books 1 through 6, but you cannot find the World book, you can actually utilize the information in the back of the book. That's a sneak peek. So you can actually use this section back here, which is all put together into this book. And this one actually has a little bit more in it, a little bit more to read, a little bit more pictures and things like that. But this is an alternative that you can use if you can't find the other book, or if it's too expensive, you don't want to spend the money, things like that. Other than that, you don't need anything else. You absolutely can supplement with other books. We did from the library. We would just find books that paired along well with whatever we were studying that week. We'd get an extra picture book or two, and then that was just kind of it. Your supply list is fairly small. You will need all of these items if you plan on doing the crafts and recipes that are included. One thing that I really loved, it's very simple and very straightforward. We actually completed week 1 on one day. That's how simple and easy it was. And that's what worked best for us. I just had planned Thursday was our history day. So we just spent that amount of time working through all of that week's history. You could very well break it up into different days if that's what works better for you. It's set up so that you can really use it in your homeschool however works best for you. So she just gives you some videos there, a few things like a few pages and topics that you're covering in this book, or she'll give you the alternative pages for these books. And then she goes through what your craft or recipe will be and what that has to do with anything. And then she gives you your narration notebook idea. And then here's a breakdown of your 2 crafts. And this one did have a recipe with it. Not every week will you have 2 crafts and a recipe. Some weeks it's just a recipe. Some weeks it's just 1 craft. Sometimes it's 1 craft, 1 recipe, but there's always something extra included. So that's really the breakdown. It's really that simple and that easy. The chapter books are actually set up as independent reads, or you could do them as a read aloud, but it's not necessarily built into the unit. You very, very well could just get this book, the unit study, the supplies, and that's it. You don't necessarily have to have these. This is just an addition to, Or if you're not able to find this book, you'll want to get these to use for those back pages that I shared with you. So as far as what that looked like in practice, we would go through a couple of the prompts. We would find the pages in our Samantha's World book that we needed to review. We'd read through them, which is really awesome. The pictures and things in here are just really, really great. So we'd read through whatever pages it needed us to read through that day, answer any little questions or anything like that. And then my daughter actually has a history notebook. And so she would just notebook something that she thought was fun or cool from that day. So we printed out some pictures of some things that she liked. This was her practicing her cursive. Again, printed out some things that she liked. This was a craft that she did. So we just kept it very simple and put it all just right here in her notebook. And then that was it. We would move on to a craft or the recipe, and we were done. Sometimes it would take 30 minutes, sometimes not even 30 minutes. Well, probably. Like if you wrap it all up with the craft and all that stuff, sometimes it would take us well over an hour. It just depended on how involved we wanted to get, if we were doing the recipes or not, things like that. So, and again, we were doing an entire week in one day. So something to keep in mind. Moving on to my review, more importantly, my daughter's review, I had her go through and give me a pros and cons list of this unit. Since you guys already saw that we are doing Felicity next, it must have been an overall good experience, right? So her pros were she loved the crafts and recipes. Of course, I knew she would. She liked learning all of the history, but she said specifically she liked learning about the different clothes and shoes. We talked about like different wedding dresses and wedding cakes and things like that. She loved all of that. She really liked the world books. So this big one, she really liked looking through that. That's where we spent a lot of our time, was just looking at all of the different pictures and reading all of the little tidbits of information. It was really, really fun. And she did enjoy doing the notebook. I was a little worried that she may not like that because we've never done notebooks like that before. But she actually said she really enjoyed that. Her only con was that it was just too short. She said she would have liked for it to last longer, or for there to be like more reading, like mom do more reading, you know, because why not? But she just felt like maybe it was a little bit too short. So next up, we, as you guys saw, have Felicity printed out. She's from 1774, so that's growing up in colonial America. We've covered a little bit of this already with the Living Off the Land unit in Gather Round, but it's been a little while and it's not going to hurt for us to revisit. I'm sure we'll learn some new things, and so we're really looking forward to it. I, of course, will update you guys once the Felicity unit is over. I'll let you guys know how we feel about that one. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. But that's it for today's video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.